Hey there. Recently I launched a browser extension and I used Elm to build it. And in today's video, I want to talk about why I chose Elm and share my experience of using it. Before we continue though, I want to say a few words about the extension itself and what it does. The main goal of the extension is to help you waste less time online. Every single time you open a new tab, you'll see this kind of reminder of what is important for you. You can add or remove these reminders and track the progress. You can also look at the nodes for any given day, turn any day into a green one by pressing this button and add in some comments. It's optional. This is a rather simple extension. And so why Elm, you may ask? And there are four big reasons for that. Number one is a stable ecosystem. The current version of the language has been released in October 2019, but I've been using the language even before that, and everything I learned since then still applies. Even though before this project I used Elm for anything substantial more than a year ago, I could jump in and be productive. Everything works out of the box, and after you've installed Elm, you have everything you need to be productive. On the other hand, I have a bunch of projects I started with TypeScript and some popular frameworks just to try new things out, and after a while they become outdated really quickly. There's this famous meme about how many days has elapsed since a new JavaScript framework has been released. It's funny, true, but it's a reflection of how fast-paced the JavaScript mainstream ecosystem is. The second reason is the Elm architecture. This language comes with the predefined architecture and the runtime designed for it. This means that a lot of decisions has already been made, and those are good decisions because they haven't been changed or updated over years. On top of that, the Elm architecture had a really big impact on some high-profile projects. For example, Redux was highly inspired by Elm, not to mention the built-in use-reducer hook in React. The third reason is tooling and the dev experience. As I mentioned, after you've installed Elm, you get everything you need to be productive, and it's really easy to integrate it with other build systems such as Vite. That's what I used. And it's amazing to see that other projects such as Dino 2 follow a similar approach by providing the standardized formatter, linter, type checker, and so on. Here's another example. Quite often for JavaScript or TypeScript projects, we use Prettier to format the code. And the configuration landscape for Prettier is rather big. In Elm, there's one package called Elm Format, and it formats the code according to the official style guide, and that's it. This means that every single code base that you find online will look exactly the same as yours. And thanks to the standardized Elm architecture, that code will follow the same architectural patterns and architectural decisions. And the fourth reason is the ergonomics of the language. And in this category, I want to highlight the error messages that the compiler produces. I think Elm was one of the first languages that paid specific attention to the error messages so that they're readable and actually helpful. And there's a host of languages that follow the same idea. Plus the combination of the Elm architecture, command subscriptions, the absence of nulls and defines or exceptions, and the fact that the errors and side effects are represented as data, all of that reduces the amount of the decision making I have to make as a developer. And instead of picking and configuring the libraries, I can actually focus on the problem at hand. To be a bit more specific, whenever I make a call to the randomness of the outside world, let's say I issue an HTTP request, the compiler will ask me to decode the data that I received. And whenever I decode anything, I get a result of error or A, the data that I decode. And thanks to proper sum types and exhaustive checking, I as a developer or anybody else who works with me will have to handle both cases, OK or error. So therefore, my HTTP request will either result in OK value that I expect or the error, and I will have to handle both cases. There's no way around it. This is how the Elm applications become reliable. And this applies to any other external API, be it WebSockets, browser events, or anything else that comes into the Elm program. Therefore, at any given point in time, everything in the program is well defined. There are no records with optional fields, no nulls, no undefineds, and that's why I chose Elm. And I can't wait to explore other options such as Gleam or Gran. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.